I'm a punk rocker and I try to be as independent and self-reliant as possible, so I'm learning how to homestead. Welcome to Punksteading. Let's get started. Hey guys, Hannah here, and I am out collecting dandelions. This is the first week I've really seen them around here, and I'm making sure to leave some for the bees, but I think I'm going to have enough to make my first cup of fresh dandelion tea. So all I'm doing is collecting just the heads of the dandelions. I'm just going to use the petals, making sure to leave some for the bees because this is their first springtime source of nectar. Later on in the year you can collect as many as you want, but for right now, leave some for the bees, and I'll meet you in my kitchen. One thing to note while you are foraging dandelions is to make sure that you're getting them from a place where no pesticides have been sprayed, and that it's, not near a dog poop or anything like that. So I'm not foraging in the pasture that the horses are actively in because that's going to be way too much nitrogen and, it's not good for you. Only foraging in my lawn where no pesticides have been sprayed, and looking at every single flower head to see if it's nice and clean and if it doesn't look like moldy or anything like that. So, Carrie, aka my kitchen. I did not realize I was going to be making a video today, but I saw my dandelions and I was like, oh my god, I've got to make a video of my first dandelion cup of tea for the season. So, my eyes are way bigger than my brain, guys. Just this many dandelions. It's not too many, and I'm only going to use the petals in this recipe, but stay tuned, later on we're going to use dandelion for everything. Only going to use the petals in this recipe, but you want to make sure that they're clean. So I am going to dump them, let me get a bigger bowl, in a bowl. Oops. And just rinse them with a water and vinegar solution. So I've just got plain old water in here. I'm going to pour it over the dandelions, and then got my gigantic jug of distilled white vinegar that I'm going to use. Brand new bottle. And I'm just going to use a dab in here. If you're really paranoid, you can use more than that, but I find that since I'm making an immediate batch of tea, it kind of messes with the taste. So I'm using it sparingly. And the reason I'm washing them like this is because all those dandelion petals are really, really prone to getting insects in them, and dirt, and tiny ants, and things like that. And I don't really want to drink steeped ant. I'm perfectly fine in not drinking steeped ant. Alright. So I'm going to shake them. Just drop them in my little strainer. Yeah, see all that gross stuff that came off of them? All that dirt and stuff. Now that won't be in my tea. It'll just be, lightning's kind of weird. Oh, that's even worse. Oh well. Well, it's like gross dirt water. So that is going down the sink. Alright, and this next part gets a little bit tedious. So I usually have like a podcast going or something. I am going to steep some water. Bring that water to a boil, and while that's steeping, or bringing to a boil, I suppose, I'm going to put my dandelion petals in here, in the jar. The way I'm going to do that is, let's get we can keep the dirty bowl over here. I'm going to grab this green part. The green part is also edible, it's just a little bit bitter. With my thumbs, and I'm going to spread that green part out, just like that. So you're getting the inside of the flower, and you're harvesting all those little petals. And again, that green part is edible, so it doesn't have to be super, super clean. But the green part is bitter. So if you want like a sweet, flowery tea, you're going to need to avoid the petals. And y'all don't have to do this while it's still super duper wet. You can let it dry. But if you let the dandelion flower dry too long, I find that it goes to seed. And going to seed is just really annoying for dandelions because it's like that fluffy, floofy dandelion seed. And that's not very great for teas. You lose all the sweetness in the immature yellow petals. Couple things about foraging in general. I know my mom in particular was like, "Ooh, Hannah, you eat flowers from the yard. What if, that doesn't seem very sanitary." And that seems, really unsafe. And, that mindset is not uncommon. But I do kind of want to work toward breaking that mindset because if done correctly, this can be an amazing health supplement to your life. And it's delicious to boot. And it's free. So, if done correctly, I highly encourage you to do it. Again, like I mentioned outside, you don't want to do this in a place where pesticides could have been sprayed. So like my partner works at a golf course. I wouldn't want to forage on the golf course because he sprays. And you don't want to like get your dandelions or your flowers or your whatever from, in the middle of a dog poop or something. That's just gross, guys. Don't do that. In addition, you really, really want to avoid large quantities of something if you've never had it before. Once your body's comfortable with it and once you know you're not going to have an adverse reaction to it, it's fine. And the only reason I mention this is not to scare people away from foraging, but to recognize that our bodies work differently. It's the same thing with people who can't eat a lot of milk or have an allergic reaction to peanuts or strawberries. Some people even are allergic to bananas. They think that they taste bitter or weird. So until you know that your body is okay with eating dandelions or clover flowers or whatever it is you forage, just go in small amounts, like a cup or a half a cup of dandelion tea. If you're unsure of that, we can also make salves or infused oils or things like that. You don't necessarily have to only make teas with the things you forage. And we'll make other videos later in the summer about all those cool infused oils that you can make from foraged things. One more thing about foraging safety, and then I'll shut up, is unless you know that it is a dandelion, unless you are absolutely sure, don't pick it. Well, you can pick it, but don't pick it and then eat it. And I'm not saying this because I don't think most people can recognize dandelions. I'm saying this because I questioned myself when I started foraging. I had no idea how many small yellow flowers were out there until I started foraging in my backyard for dandelions. And I started questioning myself, and I'm like, is this not? I don't know. So unless you're absolutely positively sure that it's a dandelion, please don't eat it. And by absolutely positively sure, I mean like you're going to the grocery store and you want a banana and you pick out a banana. Like, that is a banana, I'm going to eat a banana. That is a dandelion, I'm going to eat a dandelion. I highly recommend getting a basic plant guide, and I'll try to link to them below. I also have pictures of them in my blog, the ones that I use. And basic plant guides are really, really great for beginner foraging, like dandelions and white clover flowers and things like that. So get yourself one of those, start practicing, and hopefully by next season you'll be able to pick out a dandelion no problem. Alright guys, I'm gonna shut up and keep going with these flowers. Alright, let's do my rinse hands. Okay, so I've got my dandelion flowers, just the petals separated from the leaves, and any flowers that didn't look as clean as I wanted them to. A lot of these are just kind of shells of themselves. I've got my water, you can probably hear it. I brought it to a boil, and then I just kind of set it on like a lower heat. So it's not at a boil right now, but it is still very, very hot. So I'm going to take the thing, just pour it in. Very, very slowly. Okay, and about half a pint is good. Ooh, there's still some green bits in there. I don't know if you can see it, but that's okay. Maybe a little more. This is just about enough for a cup of tea. Better safe than sorry. Again, my eyeballs are probably bigger than my brain. So that's that. All the petals are at the top. I'm going to give it a little stir just to kind of mix it up a little bit. And then scrapey scrape. And I'm going to let that steep for about 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes. Okay, it's steeped for 10 minutes and it's got that pretty yellow dandelion hue. So I've got my mug, I got my strainer. This might not work. I got my quart jar, I got my strainer, and most people use a cheesecloth. I don't have a cheesecloth, but I do have a rag from a Witches of God t-shirt that doesn't fit anymore, so I'm using that. And I'm going to pour the dandelion into the quart jar. And this is just so you don't drink the petals. And I don't have a strainer fine enough to just not get all those teeny tiny petals in there. Alright. They can hear you snickering, Jack. Alright, ooh, that's still pretty hot. So I'm just going to squeeze out all that liquid in my cotton t-shirt rag. Alright. And there you go. That is my first cup of dandelion tea for the season. I'm going to sweeten it with a little bit of honey. You can just do pure dandelion tea. You don't have to put any sweetener in it. Or you can mix it with other tea, like a chamomile or a throat tea. It doesn't matter. Pretty sure you just saw Jack wiggling on the floor to get out of the shot. And there you go. It tastes a little bit earthy and a little bit light, like flowers. and a little bit sweet because I put honey in it. And that's it, guys. That's dandelion tea. Bye.